Hello, and welcome to the final NBA slash NHL playoff analysis slash reaction video. I predicted each round. I did decent, I would say. I didn't do the best. I got both the NBA and the NHL wrong. However, I was extremely close, and I'm proud of that. So, let's go ahead and jump into this. So, I don't know if anyone remembers, but during the conference finals reaction video, I predicted both the NHL Stanley Cup predictions and the NBA Finals predictions separately so that I could make this vid comparing my game 1 through game 7s to the real game 1 through game 7s. So, game 1 I had the Panthers. Panthers lost. Game 2 I had the Oilers. Oilers lost. Game 3 I had the Panthers. Panthers won. Game 4 I had the Panthers. Panthers lost. Game 5 I had the Oilers. Oilers lost, and then game 6 I also had the Oilers. Then game 7, hypothetically, that was what I was going for. I was going for Oilers in 7. I had the Oilers winning in 7. That is what I thought was going to happen, truthfully. I thought the Oilers would win in 7. However, truthfully, there's not much to say about the Stanley Cup Finals. It was so good. It was fun to watch. But if you want me to be honest, I feel like it's kind of the same situation as last year's Stanley Cup Finals. The entire Oilers team tried their best to show up, but the Panthers team was just so stinking good, they couldn't show up enough to the point where they could actually win. Because like I said in the conference finals reaction video, the Panthers last season had a Stanley Cup final winning team. Not only that, they signed almost every one of those guys back. Then at the trade deadline this year, they get Seth Jones and Brad Marchand, two stars to add on to that Stanley Cup final winning team from the 23 to 24 season. So it makes sense they win it in the 24 to 25 season. It makes sense. All they did was just, we have a team who's already won one. Let's go win another with even better players. That's basically what they just did, and they beat the same team who actually did. Number one, they performed way better than last year. Number two, I think that's because he was just a lot. The Oilers were a lot better built this year. They had a lot more depth, and they had a lot better players on the third and fourth lines, and not just the first and second lines this season. However, I will say, I think the Oilers just couldn't beat the Panthers because the Panthers were that good. I think if the Panthers weren't that good, and it sounds dumb just saying, oh, the Panthers were that good, but there's nothing else you can really put into words about the Florida Panthers. They were simply that good. Once again, they got two more stars on top of their Stanley Cup winning team. Everybody knew after the Panthers made the Stanley Cup, almost everyone was pulling for the Oilers because everyone knew who was actually going to win. They knew that the Panthers were going to win. They knew it. And truthfully, I kind of wish the Oilers did win. Like, I'm not an Oilers fan at all. However, I will say, I'm a Hurricanes fan, so I don't like the Panthers. However, I'm not going to put that into account here. However, I just really want Connor McDavid to win a Stanley Cup. And the most shocking part about all of this is that I feel like in Game 5 and Game 6, probably the two most crucial games for the Oilers, he didn't really show up that great. Like, he showed up pretty daggum well, but him nor the goalie, none of them really showed up that well. And then Sam Reinhart gets 4 goals in Game 6. I'm pretty sure it was Sam Reinhart. Correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. But, I mean, it was unbelievable. The Panthers have dominated the NHL for 2 straight years. Arguably 3. They didn't dominate 3 years ago, but they weren't the worst. That was the one year where people were like, okay, this team could develop to be a decent team. This team could go pretty far. Then the next season they did. And Sergei Bobrovsky is showing off again. Like, this... Although, I will say, Sergei did not do as well as he did last year, this year's playoffs. He still did great. Sergei did great. Amazing. However, I will say, I don't think, personally, he did as well as he did in the 23-24 season when they won the Stanley Cup last year, compared to this year in the 24-25 season. And I don't really know why. It just felt like he didn't make as many crucial saves, if that makes sense. And he definitely had a worse save percentage. Like last year, I'm pretty sure he was the best goaltender in the playoffs. This year, it was, before they got eliminated, it was, Freddie Anderson was one, Hurricanes goalie, and I can't remember his name, the Washington Capitals goalie. I'll get his name in a second for you guys. But, I mean, just putting it out there, Sergei didn't do as well. But the fact that Sergei didn't do as well, and they still won the Stanley Cup, just throws it out there to say, this guy is great. I mean, this team is great. Okay. The fact Sergei played great, but not as great as last year when they had already won a Stanley Cup, and his players played just good enough to the point where he won one. Oh my goodness. Unbelievable. I mean, unbelievable. The Panthers have dominated for 2 straight years, and I don't see much changing soon. I'm just being honest. I don't see much changing soon. Anyways, that's all I really have to say about the NHL. Now, let's move to the NBA. NBA Finals. This was an unbelievable series. We'll get into Game 7 here in a second, because there's kind of a lot to talk about just from Game 7. Because I live streamed Game 7 and I have a tons more. I watched every single game in this series. However, there's a tons more to talk about in Game 7 either ways. So, let me do my comparison first. I had Pacers in 6, the Thunder one in 7. So I had Game 1 Thunder, Game 2 Pacers, Game 3 Pacers, Game 4 Pacers, Game 5 Thunder, and Game 6 Pacers. I had Pacers 4-2. That didn't happen. It was Game 1 Indiana, Game 2 Oklahoma City, Game 3 Indiana, Game 4 Oklahoma City, Game 5 Oklahoma City, Game 6 Indiana, Game 7 Oklahoma City. This was an unbelievable series. People, here's my thing. I get it. There's been a ton of good Game 7s. A ton of good Game 7s in the past. But I saw a ranking the other day, ranking like the top 10, like the last 10. He ranked the last 10 Game 7s. And if you want me to be honest, I don't think I really agreed with it. He said, I'm pretty sure he ranked this one like 9th. Or he said, okay, let me reword this. He was ranking the last 10 series that went to Game 7. So not just the Game 7, but the entire series that went to Game 7, he ranked that. I don't know. I really don't agree with that, only because of the fact that it was a good... in my opinion, I mean, every game was a nail biter except for Game 6 and Game 7. And even in those two games, in Game 6, Oklahoma City, I mean, people thought they might have come back in the fourth. And then in the Pacers, truthfully, they choked the third quarter. They could have. Without Tyrese, it was difficult, of course, but truthfully, they could have probably won that Game 7. It was a tough situation. Once again, I'll get back into that in a second. But, I mean, ranking it 9th out of the past 10 series that went into Game 7, I don't agree with that, truthfully. I think this would, I mean, there's been a ton of good ones. Don't get me wrong. But this series, it was just every game was close and every game was good. I would say not 9, but I would say at the very least 5. 5 at the very least. Okay? And it's not even because of what happened in Game 7. It's not because of what happened in the other games. It's just because these were two even teams that battled like crazy to even get there in the first place. Like, they shouldn't have even been there. They really shouldn't have. Let's take this into account. I get it. The Thunder are the number 1 seed on the West. However, if you looked way back at the beginning of the season, the Pacers and the Thunder on everyone's bracket would have made the preseason bracket. They probably did. However, they probably both would have either gotten eliminated in the first round or the second round. I don't even think they would have both made the conference finals according to most NBA analysts in the world. I just don't think so. I think they would have said the Cavs against the Nuggets. Possibly they would have went a weird one. The Lakers against the Warriors, last ever series, go up, and then the Warriors beat them, or the Lakers beat them, then the Warriors get to the finals against the Cavs. But everyone was saying the Cavs would get there. The Cavs were the number 1 seed. Mid-season, everyone was like, the Cavs are getting there. 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 Before the season, truthfully, that was mid-season. Pre-season, they thought the Celtics might pull off a back-to-back. They thought the Celtics might pull off back-to-back. I was excited for it. It didn't happen. However, they thought the Celtics might pull off a back-to-back. It didn't happen. However, the fact that these two teams didn't really get talked about as much as the Cavs, the Nuggets, the Lakers, the Warriors, the Celtics, all of those teams, they got talked about way more. And I think that both of those teams even getting to the finals kind of shocked the rest of the world. Let's look at the bracket real quick. I mean, just real quick. I mean, yes, that was another team. They were talking about the Rockets, the Timberwolves. I mean, all of those that I've named, they were talking about beforehand, and none of them got to the NBA Finals. The Thunder and the Pacers did. Yes, they were talking about the Pacers. They were talking about the Thunder very, very heavily. But were they talking about them as much as the Cleveland Cavaliers, as much as the Boston Celtics, as much as the Houston Rockets, as much as the Denver Nuggets? I don't think so. They really weren't. They weren't. Okay? Stephen A. Smith, a year ago, would have said, oh my gosh, the Cleveland Cavaliers are making it. I don't think anyone would have said that. I don't think anyone would have predicted the Thunder and the Pacers. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm sure there are people who believed in them. But I don't recall, because I follow the NBA a ton, and I don't recall either of those teams being talked about a ton preseason. I don't. Truthfully, even when the season started, the Pacers weren't getting talked about to make the NBA Finals. I mean, they weren't. It was still just the Cavs, Celtics. They weren't. The Thunder were at that time because then everyone was like, oh man, the Thunder might win the NBA Finals. Like, they're doing good. Oh my gosh, it's going to be either the Thunder, the Timberwolves, the Nuggets, or the Rockets on that side. Or maybe the Lakers or the Warriors will pull off a crazy thing. Neither. Okay? Neither. None of those four. But the Thunder and the Pacers, against all odds, made it there. That's why I think that it should probably be top 5 in that ranking. Anyways, that's why I think that. Now let's quickly... I took like 10 minutes talking about that guy's ranking. I'm not going to say his name. I know his name, but I'm not going to say his name. Who did the ranking that I disagree with. But Game 7, I need everyone to answer this in the comments. Okay? If you guys made it this far, answer this in the comments. In your opinion, Game 7, would the Pacers have won the NBA Finals if Tyrese didn't get an Achilles injury? Here's my opinion. Then leave your opinions in the comments. I think yes, 1,000%. And not just because I predicted it before. He had 11 points in like 5 minutes. I forgot how many minutes he played. If I can look how many minutes he played. Indiana Pacers. Tyrese Halliburton. He played 7 minutes. And had already scored... 9 points. But look at that. All of those points were from 3. Truthfully, he was dominating on offense and defense. Then just dribbles up and falls. And every one of us was like, oh no, that sucks. And I mean, it does. It definitely does. I feel horrible for him. But I mean, the fact of the matter is that I don't think the Thunder, because of the fact that not only that, but because of the fact that the Pacers wanted it so bad. Like, of course, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, MVP, Finals MVP, scoring leader, and Finals winning in 1 year is wild. So he wanted to do that. However, is that a thing where you look at it and go like, huh? I lost my thought. I'm sorry, I lost my thought. I really did. I didn't mean to do that on accident. I don't need to do that. Hold on, restart. I'm not cutting that out. That was funny. But I don't think Tyrese Halliburton would have lost that game. I just don't. He did immaculate. He was great from 3. He was dominating on defense, then slips and falls, tears his Achilles. Now he's undergoing surgery on his Achilles, and that's my opinion. Anyways, just a little announcement. I don't know when it'll be. On the calendar, because I'm kind of excited for it, on the calendar, I will be replacing one of the upcoming analyst videos with something a little different. Upcoming, I am going before the NBA season. So from now to the start of the NBA season, every couple weeks, I'll post one analyst video, and it'll be one team, probably around 10 to 20, possibly even 30 minutes, depending on how locked in I go. It'll be a full video of like predictions for that team's upcoming season. So I'll predict all 82 games. Before I predict all 82 games, I'll go over what I think this season could look like because of the draft that happened last night. I watched every single pick from that, by the way. That was once again, I watch the NBA. I mean, a lot. Which is weird. My family, this is what weird. I'm getting off topic here, but my family doesn't watch the NBA that much, and I'm over here doing this. I mean, I really do. I watch the NBA a lot, and it's fun. But basically, for example, if I was to predict, which this is going to be the first team I will, because I'm a big Charlotte Hornets fan, I'll do the Charlotte Hornets first. That's my announcement. I'll do the Charlotte Hornets first, and then when I do the Charlotte Hornets, I'll be like, before I predict all 82 games, I will be like, oh, they just drafted Con Knipple. What could he do? Oh, they just drafted this guy. What could he do? I forgot the other 3 guys' names we drafted. They are really good, though. And you guys will see my opinions on that within the next 2 weeks. I'll just say that. Anyways, leave a like, subscribe, check out my Discord. It's in the description below. No one has joined yet, so if you join, you get you get absolutely nothing. I mean, you get a roll that says you were the first one to ever join the Discord, so that's not exactly that cool, but if you really want that, then join. No one's joined it. I spent all this time making a Discord, then no one's joined it. Anyways, thank you for watching. It's basically tradition at this point. I don't know how to end this. Good